And we're live. Here we are. We're gone live. Welcome everybody. I'm the Love Doctor. Well, all right, that picture didn't match up. All right, but we have Bijou Bisou is here with us right now. I'm just pointing there, and of course Steve Winchester is here. Steve Winchester is here as well, filling in for the late cancellation of Wild Delilah. So we have.
When you call her late, it sounds like
No, not the late Wild Delilah. The late cancellation. The late cancellation. Just
it's like, who has nothing better to do on a Sunday? Steve Winchester.
no.
Hi, everybody.
Purpose. Here it is. I was sort of I was busy and all that, and so today trying to find somebody. So I contacted somebody who I'd already been in contact with. I had seen you Friday night.
That's true.
So that was helpful that I had seen you just the 2 days before. 2 days before?
Yes.
Friday. Yes.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you believe in linear time.
That's true. And linear time is just a little bit odd to me. So it doesn't always work out. But thank you for the wonderful people at the SDQ for providing places where I can safely and legally buy products. Hi, how's everybody doing?
Excited to be on the show.
There we are. We have some people tuning in to watch us. I see. Welcome, everyone. We're here to answer your questions about love, sex, and relationships. We're going to be answering your questions very shortly. I do want to make sure that everybody understands that you can ask your questions in the chat, or you can ask them. What's the proper word? Anonymously by going to our Slido that we have set up. So you can go to sli.do and the event code is TLD for the Love Doctor 205. This is season 2, episode 5 of the Love Doctor. If anyone wants to tell us whether or not they hear an echo, just say in chat if you're hearing an echo. I'm not hearing any here in the studio. So not sure where that echo could be coming from. And I'm just going to run the Slido code along the bottom so people will know exactly where it is to go while we start answering these questions. Oh, we hold it. All right, we have a question in the wrong area. Let's answer that first.
I also have a question. How do you know it's not slide do?
Because I seen because I pay for it and I've seen the training videos. So they call it Slido. Exactly.
I've been calling it slidey this whole time.
Aha. There is. At a burlesque show, a friend asked a man in a kilt what they wear underneath, and his answer was to flash us his penis. How could I have prevented this? In the hot seat right away is the very shocked Steve Winchester.
I don't know. Like, a part of me wants to say like the onus is entirely on the penis shower to know that there's a good chance that random people don't want to see a penis. So if I were the kilt wearer and someone was like, "What are you wearing underneath it?" I would say nothing, and I can prove it if you want me to, but only if you want me to, and I won't if no one needs the proof. And I guess for the asker, who it's not their fault for having been shown a penis for asking, they might have been more clear. Like, hey, what's under the kilt? I don't want to see your penis.
Boom. I think that has answered fairly succinctly. Bijou.
I like that. I think I'm going to use that for everything. Hi, nice to meet you. I don't want to see your penis. It's good. It's a good catch-all.
What goes good with this wine? I don't want to see your penis.
It's good.
You never know. That might be what goes good with the wine. You know what? Yeah, the person should have. Devin is quite right. The person should have asked before showing. I've had a friend recently go through the reverse of that, in the fact that they were wearing a kilt, and somebody just reached up underneath. And the response was, well, you should have worn something there if you didn't want people to go dingle their dangle. And the person who did the grabbing seemed quite offended when she was not when she was escorted from the property for doing this to my acquaintance.
So if that person had been wearing underwear, then the assault, then it's not okay.
Yeah,
but
I don't.
How did you know? Like, even in that eventuality where it's okay if you're wearing underwear, how did you know that this person was not wearing underwear?
I think what the moral of the story is other people aren't there for your enjoyment, so make sure that they want to be involved in your bit before you force it upon them.
Are involved with your bits.
Yes.
Yes. All right. We're ready for the next question.
I do have a kilt story if we want to.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
So when I was in university, I used to walk around with a pair of utility scissors all the time. Like I always had like a knife and a scissors and like just wrench and all that kind of stuff. And I went to a friend's wedding and I was wearing my kilt. And I was sitting across the room and I saw some friends like trying to get my attention and then doing this. So I was like, oh, they must want my scissors. So I get up and I walk over and I'm like, hey, here are my scissors. And they're like, no, legs together. We see everything.
That's this.
My friends were in university. They weren't smart enough to realize that this is legs, and this is scissors.
Is that really the takeaway of this story?
Legs. Like
scissors.
I was doing a benefit show one time where I was hosting, and I was about to bring up a comedian. I'm going to specify female comedian, but comedian is comedian, period. But the act beforehand was a trio of young bagpipers. And two of them went and sat directly in the front row afterwards. And as they were sat down there, I had to kind of address something before I brought the comedian to the stage. Say, look, if the phrase I used, I think, is, if you don't want the gate the goat to escape, you might want to close the gate. And the parents of one of them was right there, and they caught on, but the kids looked very confused. So yes, some young teen
kilts.
Bagpipers in kilts.
I just can't imagine a venue where you would have 3 bagpipers on stage at the same time, and the next act didn't have to wait for like the feedback like ring of deafening.
All right. Oh, I was just checking with somebody off site. There is no echo coming through. We had asked that, so there's no echo coming through on the broadcast. Our next question that we have, we will start at the bottom because it has filled up now. Hi, I was wondering if you think couples should share passwords, i.e. phone lock screens, Facebook, Instagram accounts, and why? You gave that answer. I have it first. All right. Well, I'm in the hot seat. It all depends on the level of trust between partners. Personally, I don't see the need to keep them separate as long as somebody isn't like scrolling through history, or if you don't want your partner to have access to your banking or whatever, then I see no problem with it. At the same time, for someone to go snooping, I don't find is a healthy relationship thing. But if, say, you're stuck somewhere and you don't have access to your internet, but you have access to your phone, you can call your partner, hey, can you check that message that I had on Facebook? Then that's a very applicable and thing to do with that. But to have someone scrolling through my history, I don't know if I'm totally comfortable with it. With Mr. Winchester.
So one of my exes did have access to all of my stuff, and we were having a big fight. and then I left the house, and then found out that she had been going through my emails looking for proof to further win the argument that we were having. But then she was doing it incorrectly. So not only did I then win the argument, I also had more things to use against them for why we should break up. So yes, let your partners have your passwords. Just be smarter than them.
You know what? I'm both shut.
That sounds super healthy.
Yes, it did not, but yes.
Okay, I'm gonna sidestep that. We're gonna move on. I think that it is entirely a question of your level of comfort. I don't think trust necessarily has to come into it. I personally don't care if my partner has my passwords to, like, say, Facebook, Instagram. My banking stuff is a little bit more like, you know, maybe keep that separate, but that's me. With that said, I also wouldn't want someone going through my history, especially not to win an argument, which has happened to me as well. One of my partners went through my message history with somebody that I had been flirting with, and he was very angry. Understandably so, because, we were having a lot of problems. So he was just looking for any reason to win the argument, to say that, like, I am the worst partner or whatever. Worse, not worst. Because so yeah, I think that it's about comfort level.
So it's a comfort level between the people in the relationship is your suggestion. Because I'm older, I'm going to say there's practical reasons for your partner to have access to your social media. If they have the ability to turn your Facebook page into a memorial page when you're not ready or available to answer any kind of questions, or to get information out to people in case of an emergency. That is the main argument for them to have access to your social media.
I have my mom's info for that reason alone.
And it's not something that you do is go in and search their back history, like letting them have it. Yes. All right.
I know my mom's history.
So see. There we go. This is the main answer to the question. The main answer to the question is it's okay for them to have these passwords. It's not quite kosher for them to use it without an immediate need.
And if they do use it, they are probably not going to find what they want.
True. Boom. All right. I hope that answers for everybody. We have our next question is, what first attracts you to another person? Bijou, you get to take this question first.
Butt.
Just
their butt. I like a nice juicy butt. Just like something like a peach. Like
I like juicy butt, and I cannot lie.
Just want to take a bite out of it. I like a nice butt. After that, personality and smile and stuff. But the first thing is the butt for sure.
So if you met someone who was gorgeous and had a great chemistry, and you look back and it was an indent where the butt should be, no butt whatsoever, you'd be
listen, I'm allowed to have a preference. I've dated people that have not very nice butts, and that's okay. I don't have a perfect body. That's the first thing that attracts me. That's all.
All right. I see that. If you pointed out that is not your only thing that attracts you.
It's the biggest one though, and usually it's the biggest one. It's just a nice juicy ass. Hi, Mom.
And yeah, if for those of you that are watching, say hello in the chat, or at least give a thumbs up to let us know that you're there. You know what, grace and poise is something that has always attracted my attention. A woman wearing her hair up attracts my attention, but in my history, I think intelligence has been a very strong indicator of who I've dated. There's been a lot of intelligent women that I have dated, and that seems to be the main thing. Richard Mullen is saying, hi, hey, Richard, I saw that you're back in the hospital. I hope you're feeling well, or at least on the road to recovery. Steve.
Most of my relationships that matter, that I still think of, when I look back to what attracted me to the other person, 99% of the time, it's I meet them, and there's an instantaneous moment where, like, I need this person in my life. I need to get to know this person better. This person is someone with whom I want to spend some time. Like, whether it was like a giant crush from like the first instance of meeting, or like just intense memories of like how beautiful their smile is, or like just like meeting them and going, this person is cool. So I guess the thing that I look for when, in an attractive person is magic.
No pressure. Are you magical? Oh, so then, you know, burlesquers, glitter, and
Magicians
and all that. Oh, magicians. Yeah. Are you into magicians?
If someone pulled a rabbit out of a hat at a first date, I'd be like, let's do this.
All right.
Boom. Or the endless scarves. Richard Mullinson. Yes. All right. He's having difficulty with their prostate. So best wishes to you at this time, Christopher. For people listening, please think good thoughts for Christopher.
Send all of your good thoughts
for Richard. Why did I say
prostate.
Christopher? Sorry, for Richard. For Richard. All right. And let's move on to the next question. This is a question about polyamory and Christmas. Does each person have to get a gift for all the others, or is it only the ones that are intimate with each other who exchange gifts? Devin, you're in the hot seat.
Who's that?
Sorry, Steve. You're in the hot seat. I was thinking about that Instagram handle.
I'm a big poop. I don't give a lot of Christmas presents. I don't give like holiday gifts because I'm either always poor or always feeling like I am poor, and the idea of giving gifts causes a lot of anxiety. So if I were in a situation where I had like my primary partner and then like a bunch of other people, I would let them all know, like, hey, if I get you anything, it's gonna be something small and personal, and you don't need to get me anything in return, because I'm giving you something because I want to give you something, and if I don't give you something, it's not because I don't want to, it's because I can't afford it, or I can't deal with the pressure of getting it. So I would say, like, if you're in a polyamorous situation and you want to give gifts to some of your partners but not to some of your other partners, like, have that conversation with them, and, you know, let them know that, like, just because you're giving a present to your primary but not to your septiary, that it doesn't mean that they're not still important.
Good answer. Good answer. Bijou.
I'm nailing this.
I'm in a unique position because I am both Jewish and an only child, and though I am poly, I haven't had multiple primary partners at the same time. It's usually like primary, secondary, or like primary and then, you know, dating around type thing. So I don't feel super equipped to answer, but if this were my situation, I would do the same thing as what Steve said. I would have a conversation with the people and sort of talk through expectations. I will say that if you are with, say, two partners, and the idea is to not have either of them be primary, have both of them be on equal footing, as it were, I would try to get them both comparable gifts. That's just something that I would say. You know, I mean, like, because if you want it to be an equal thing, then you can't be like, oh, well, I'm going to get you like a PlayStation 5 and you get a pair of socks. Like, That's just my personal opinion. Having gotten lots of socks for, you know, one of the day 3s of Hanukkah. It's not people think it's like 8 days of the kinds of gifts you get at Christmas. It is not. It is like, okay, first night you get food. We're going to eat. Second night you also get food, but here's some chocolate. Third night, here's a pencil case. Like, it's
or socks, apparently.
Or yeah, always socks.
So socks are not a good present.
Socks are fine. I just, you know, don't get the other person a PlayStation. Unless I can also play. If we all live together, the PlayStation's for the house.
Like, and isn't the point of being in a polyamorous relationship is to just fill up your Mario Kart line?
I mean, it's part of it. That and being able to, you know, afford rent.
That is the point of roommates, I believe, not necessarily a polyamorous relationship. I would. All right. Richard had replied that the thing that attracts them to another person is the eyes.
Especially if they have a little baggie of them.
Well, I think that's why Devin and I are both wearing sunglasses. Steve and I are both wearing sunglasses. All right. I am off to a good start. What have I been drinking? There's questions. We have. My response to that is, like, I grew up in a fairly large family, and as we became adults, we started doing Secret Santa. So one person would be getting, you draw a name and you get the gift for that one person in your family. And occasionally you could or would buy small things, you know, for everyone if you thought it suited their need. And the parents did the Santa aspect of it too, like, you know, little something. Socks were amazing. I had grandmothers who knit socks. So that was an option. If you are in like a polyamorous relationship, I don't know if drawing names is going to be work. You know, as well as if everybody's interested in everybody else, then that would work. If not, I think what Bijou had said about making sure that the gifts were comparable is good. I know I feel very nervous when I receive gifts because I feel that means that there's an obligation for me to have given back something comparable. And as somebody who lives off the arts, you know, sometimes, well, as Steve had said, sometimes you're rich, sometimes you are poor, sometimes you feel like you're poor. So it's what works there, and there's a level of anxiety that comes in attached to that about, you know, are they going to be upset if I don't give them, you know, something that is comparable? Like, what can I get them? And it's stressful, is what it is.
I'm also going to say that don't pull that bullshit move where you say, we're not going to buy anything for anybody, and then you make something like with your own like sweat and like grit, and like then this beautiful like handcrafted gift arrives at your door, and you have nothing to give back because you were like, but you said we're not going to get each other's gifts, and then they're like, no, I said we wouldn't buy each other's gifts. I'm like, well, fuck you. Well, now I have nothing, and this is an amazing gift, and what am I going to do?
Exactly.
Just don't do that. That's bullshit.
You really like winning relationships, it seems.
I just don't like looking like a piece of shit when someone else is like, here's proof of my love. Oh, okay. Thanks for that.
Where is I want to I can't remember the exact date. But everyone talks about the war on Christmas. I'm thinking, you know, Christmas is the war on guilt. But the war on Christmas was won in the 1920s. Let's face it, the war on Christmas was won in the 1920s when Coca-Cola rebranded Santa Claus.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
All right, so all of this
before that, any bum with a beard could potentially be Santa. And now if you're not like wearing red with a snow white beard and a festive bowl of jelly between your pants, you're out of luck.
There we are. Also, I just want to point out that, like, is there anyone that's reminding the elf on the shelf that snitches get stitches?
That's right.
Just if we're keeping with the rhymes.
ACAB.
AEAB?
AEAB? Yeah, there we are.
It's not a great message.
There we are.
Anyone who watches you while you're sleeping and knows when you're awake, like, dude's got to learn some boundaries.
I want to give a shout out to Montreal comedian Sareg Maletian, because he recently tweeted out ACAB, ACAB, all cops are bald, which is so. Mr. Winchester, are you a police officer? Just
I've played one on TV.
You do have the shades.
there we are.
Got some nice narc shades.
Hello, kids. Where are the Christmas decorations?
Our next question is not as fun. I think my partner cheated on me with their ex. What should I do? I'm in the hot seat for this. I think, well, it all depends on why you think. If you think your partner cheated on you with their ex, like, you should be able to communicate with this with your partner. Beware of gaslighting, and beware of unnecessary paranoia. But at the same time, if something is giving you this feeling, investigate it. And by investigate it, I'm not saying go snooping through their Facebook. All right, I'm saying talk with them. Like, identify what it is that has given you this feeling. If they both went to the STD clinic together, then and you need to make the trip, that's a bit more solid. But I'm very much a strong believer in personal feelings, and if you feel like something is wrong, it may not be that they have cheated on you with their ex, but there may be something else wrong in the relationship, and you definitely need a conversation because you're getting that feeling.
Yeah, feelings are great, but proof is better before you start acting on those feelings. Like, if you think that your partner cheated on you with their ex, like, yes, have a conversation with them. You have to confine, like, you have to find out, and then you got to decide, like, is it, like, what's more important, the relationship that you have, or what you are afraid might happen. Hopefully you can be open and honest and have a conversation. And if you can't, then you got to decide, is feeling paranoid worth being with this person?
There we are. Bijou, your choice of answer.
I think what's important first and foremost is to determine what you mean by cheating, because a lot of people have different definitions of what cheating is. So I would make sure that you and your partner are on the same page as far as that's concerned before anything else happens. Like the aforementioned flirting. To me, flirting is not cheating, but to my ex, flirting was cheating, and that was a conversation we should have had early on before it turned into a big fight. So I think that that's important. I also think that what Steve said is really important. If nothing's going on, but you are feeling insecure and you're feeling uncomfortable and you don't really know why, other than it's being caused by something that your partner is doing, then regardless if that person is cheating, if that feeling doesn't go away, it might be time to reevaluate.
Boom. Strongly agreed on that one. There we go. The chat is being very silent, but we do have quite a few number of questions in there. So definitely thanking everyone who's being going into the Slido and giving us questions. We have some more questions to get to. And our next question is, what do you want for Christmas? All right, we're lightening up the tone from that last question. We're answering questions about love, sex, and relationships, but I guess what do you want for Christmas fits in there. Bijou.
I just want to spend time with the people I love. That's all. Quality time.
Boom. Oh my goodness. And we're beginning to get bombarded There we are. All right, okay. Quality time with people that you love. I think that is a near perfect answer. The only way I could top that is I wish for the same thing I wish for every single day of the year, is that everyone treats everyone else like they themselves wish to be treated. Except masochists.
I was going to say, because some people.
Yeah, just accept masochists. Masochists, you could just chill. And if any masochist is hurt by me excluding them,
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Or, self-hating people, people with really low maybe be kind to yourself and others.
Is this the director commentary for the box that's up there? So I want fame and fortune for Christmas. That would be nice. Because I got two people who wish for health and happiness for their loved ones, and I guess that's all good now. So that's all about me.
Remind me a couple of questions ago how you said you don't want to look like an asshole. How's that going?
I said I don't look like a chump. I'm okay with looking like an asshole.
Oh, okay. All right. That was my mistake.
There we are. All right. Let's hope everything stays together for Christmas. We have the next question is watch an erotic film or read an erotic novel. Which would you pick? Steve.
I gotta go with the movie. Like, my time is very precious, and I feel like I can carve out 2 hours for a movie, but like sitting down and reading a heaving bosom tales in the time of scurvy kind of erotic novel, I don't know if I have the time for that. Plus, like I do most of my reading on the subway, whereas I will only watch an erotic film in the privacy of my own home, where everyone around me is consenting to it being watched. So, movies for the win.
Do you pay for it? Do you pay for your? Do you pay the actors for their time?
No, I'm a scab.
Okay. I would go with a book. Once when I want to say like 14, my mom bought me a book that was like, oh, it's a story about like this young woman who is haunting this house. And so she gave it to me, and it turns out that she was haunting the house, but was having sex with the husband.
Haunt erotica?
It was yeah, ghost erotica, and it was quite good.
Like the movie with the pottery.
Yeah, it was a little bit more like R-rated than that. And I don't know, like I really liked the book. It was super interesting to me, and I've always had more of an like abstract stream of consciousness thing. So watching like erotic movies or porn or whatever, like while it's not something that I dislike, I just prefer it's more, I don't want to say artsy because that sounds super pretentious, but it evokes a different feeling in me than say like an erotic film would. It's more magical, to quote Steve.
Yeah, and on that point, I have heard of some excellent erotic novels that you would not be able to find existing in reality, like dinosaur porn or Bigfoot erotica, like stuff that like you really need. Like no one's gonna put the time and effort and money into making a sexy velociraptor movie.
You say that, but you forget the one rule of the internet is that if you've thought about it, it exists as porn. Except Squid Game, I think, right? Is that the one?
You know that there has to be Squid Game porn at this point. For my answer on that question is I'm going with the book, but if I can add something to what Bijou has said, is the fact that reading with a partner in bed, reading out loud to a partner in bed, can be a lot of fun, and it's it keeps you more in connection with your partner as you read these things with them, and that is my take on either to watch an erotic film or read an erotic novel.
And when you say that, of course, I think of every cold read partner I've ever had at an audition, where you're putting your heart and your soul and your entire essence, and their response is, "Yes, dear." They went down to the basement and began to frolic.
At last the world is safe, Fallout Boy?
Watch out, radioactive man!
All right. There is more questions on the way, and we'll start with this one. What is Montreal strip club etiquette? And I have that question first. I'm not fully sure, actually. Tip well. Is I believe there's no touching, but in Montreal they do full nudity. I don't know if that's all bars or some are just topless. I know that in some places in the States they can't go bottomless, but in Montreal I think they can. I'm not exactly sure of the etiquette other than the basic etiquette of be kind, fuckface. All right, Mr. Winchester.
I don't know if I've been to a strip club in Quebec.
Oh, sure.
How do you not know if you've been?
Me neither.
Because it's been a while, and then B, my knowledge of geography is Hull in Quebec.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then I've been. Okay, it's been a while.
Nice save.
You know how Hull is known for their amazing strip clubs.
That is the only thing I know Hull for. If someone says Hull, I'm like, oh yeah, where the strip clubs are.
You mean the place that's now called Gatineau?
Where the strip clubs are.
But yeah, like
strip club. Want to see some titties?
I feel like it's very much like any type of service industry type job. Like you, when they do a good job, you give them a nice tip. Don't dick them around. Don't get so drunk around them that management has to come and deal with you.
So part of the be kind and know the touching rules.
Yeah.
And tipping well.
And if you are ever concerned when you go, when one of the lovely people comes up and asks you for a drink and they are very friendly, you can say, hey, it's been a while. What are the rules? And I guarantee you, if you ask what the rules are, they will fucking tell you the rules because they want you to know the rules because they have to deal with people who break the rules.
Boom. Well said. We're ready for the next question.
I don't get one.
You didn't answer that. My apologies.
I would just say that even if you're a woman, you cannot touch people without consent. Even if you're a woman, and I say this, I can't speak to personally from a strip club point of view, but I can't speak from the burlesque point of view. And the amount of things that straight women think that they can get away with is with drag queens. I know in the drag queen community, it's very prevalent. Touching without asking is very common. Stop it. Stop it.
Boom. Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Stop it.
Like just because you're wearing a costume and you're out there for people to look at doesn't mean you are also there to get touched.
I know that Montreal Comic Con was the first one to be posting the signs and trying to do a very public awareness thing of cosplay is not consent.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that other cons had to sort of catch up afterwards.
Good.
Including one in a major city that was suggesting people go up and hug cosplayers So yeah, that was not
This
good.
before COVID, right?
Way before COVID. Most of them
So
now follow the idea that cosplay is not consent, and they post about it as well. And that's, all right. I thought that might have got more discussion, but
don't hug your cosplayer.
yeah, without consent.
Consent. Just fucking ask.
Exactly.
And asking does not mean that you deserve a yes.
Yes.
Just by virtue of the fact that you've asked does not mean that you can then, oh hey, can I touch your boobs? I did not answer your fucking question yet.
One of the things that I have been struggling with in my own life is I have a problem where I always assume that the answer is going to be no. I assume that I am a worthless piece of garbage that should be thrown into the street as opposed to dealt with in any way, which is generally not the case. But it is very difficult to hope for a yes and still be okay with the no. It's like you gotta get in that mindset. Like, I'm gonna go. This person is cool. I'm gonna go say, hey, can I take a picture with you? Can I get a hug? And if it's yes to the picture, no to hug, it's like, thank you for saying anything at all. Have a great day.
Boom. And let's get a little bit of love. Somebody in the chat say something nice about Steve too, Steve, because we do not think of them as a piece of garbage.
Not yet.
They are a wonderful person who's managed to step in here on short notice. What does that cup say, by the way? You keep on lifting it up.
It says Stegosaurus.
Stegosaurus.
And it's got a Stegosaurus on it. And it's full of Canadian whiskey infused with maple syrup.
Oh, sortilege.
Delightful.
Sortilege. By the way, that's a great Christmas gift for people. A little bit of the sortilege.
Booze and sugar.
Booze and sugar. Like sugar doesn't have enough booze. All right, this kind of goes with the last discussion we just had. Is my partner really wants to see the new Spider-Man movie, but I am not comfortable with it. I am immune compromised and have taken extra precautions to keep myself safe in this pandemic. With the rise of Omicron, isn't it Omicron? Oh,
Omicron?
It's Omicron.
Omicron. Would it be rude to tell him to stay away from me for 2 weeks if he goes to it? All right, Bijou, you have the floor first.
Oh, good. I have asthma, so I'm going to go ahead and say you are allowed to tell them to stay away for 2 weeks. Do not feel bad about that. Do not let them make you feel bad about that. It is your life. If they are more concerned with seeing a movie and getting to see you and putting you in danger than staying away because you could die, then cut your losses. That person is not worth your time. It is extremely reasonable.
I'm a big nerd and a big geek, and I'm not going to go see that movie as much as I'm afraid of any spoilers. I am not going to see that film until the crowds go down. And who knows, maybe I won't even see it to February if this is the case. I have seen a few movies recently with the spacing rules in the theaters, but I don't know exactly what they're changing to now. And I've only ever seen them like I go to like 11 a.m. movies to see a movie because I know that I'm going to be one of 4 people in the entire theater and we're going to be all spaced out. I don't mean on drugs.
There's that one guy who's just like right behind you. I don't know. I have friends who for the entire like length of the pandemic have been very cautious with with their distancing and with who they see. And they didn't have partners and they weren't in anyone's bubble, so they've been like doing the virtual dating. They've been doing the on like going on like tours of virtual museums, and that's like months and months and months of not seeing anybody because they're trying to do their best to help reduce the effects of COVID. So I'm gonna say, like, if your partner is so desperate to see the movie, great, but he should totally be okay with not seeing you for 2 weeks for your safety. And if they're the kind of person that's going to use that to dump you, then
Bye, Felicia.
yeah, like, you don't want to be somebody's hostage.
And Richard Mullen is saying, no, not all intact. They should do it automatically. I agree that their thoughts should be first of their partner rather than the film.
It's going to be a great movie.
I'm all reports that I've been trying to avoid seeing has all been saying it's a great movie with 2 post-credit scenes. So, all right, scary stuff. No spoilers. We are gonna move on to the next question.
Spider-Man's going to be in it.
Oh, you know what? My manager Paul does this geek game show, and they tweeted this thing is do I have to watch Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 1 and 2 to get this movie? So that was.
It's like, what you got to do is, starting back in 1976, you need to find the original copy of the Spider-Man TV show. That's where it begins. Other than, like, the first live action, which was in the 1983, or the comic book.
Please tell me you're being facetious.
Yes,
Okay.
Most of that information has been pulled out of my butt.
All right, talking about pulling out of your butt there, Steve. Bijou. Oh, this question's directed directly to Bijou. I loved your dreidel number on Friday. How do you come up with awesome things like that? So, do you mind if we switch over to Bijou?
Thank you so much. It depends. Making acts, there's a bunch of different ways that I do it. Sometimes someone will be like, oh, we're doing this kind of theme. And I'll be like, all right, do I have anything that kind of fits the theme? I kind of get inspired by, oh, we're going to do, an 80s theme. And then I'd be like, all right, cool. Like, I want to do something. Like, I was always thinking about this song, so that's going to really work. As far as the dreidel act is concerned, any of the really just out there, ridiculous, like with huge props, they kind of write themselves. I'm like, okay, how can I make this ridiculous thing like come to life? And it's like, I'm pretty sure I put that thing together in like a day or two, just because I was so passionate about it, So I think that, like, just go with your gut, like, if I used to be so concerned by what people would think about X type of act, or like, how I sing, or, my body shape, or the costumes, or whatever. Now I just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I have fun, and people really respond to that, Thank you so much.
Boom. And do you want to mention the event so people will? So people will be able to find when that producer is putting on more events.
Yes. It was the Candy-Ass Cabaret put on by Velma Candy-Ass. It is the longest, from what I understand, is the longest running burlesque show in Montreal. And I believe the next one, we were thinking of doing it in January, but I think that because of the new regulations, it's probably going to end up being a web show in February. But I would follow Candy-Ass Cabaret for more details.
Boom. All right. The next question we have coming up. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to do this because I see that we don't have too many more questions, but we're going to easily pass the hour.
Are you going to ask me to say how Bijou gets their ideas for their show?
Since that question was specific to
okay.
Bijou, but as a performer, do you want to answer how you come up with your ideas? Let's first just Bijou.Bisou on Instagram. That's their Instagram handle. You can find out about them doing any further shows. So Bijou.Bisou on Instagram. Steve Winchester, for some strange reason, is Devon Auditions on Instagram.
Steve Auditions was taken.
Steve Auditions was taken, so it's Devon Auditions on Instagram. So that is one way to access to find out what they're doing. And do you want to explain now what type of performances you do and what's the inspiration for them?
So I am a circus freak, so I do horrible things to myself for your entertainment. Most of the time,
you didn't say enjoyment.
Hey, enjoyment is subjective, but entertainment is. Wait. Yeah, I don't know. Again, like very much like if someone is doing a theme show, I will like look at my like list of things that I can do to myself and try to figure out, is there like a theme that I can fit this into. But as for like,
can you give us a for instance?
Somebody was doing a Game of Thrones act. And I was like, oh well, there's the masochist who gets eaten by his own dog, sadist. So
you're talking about
eaten, yes.
Ramsay, right?
Yeah, Ramsay. So he's a sadist. He gets eaten by his own angry dogs.
Spoiler alert, sorry.
It's like a several-year-old spoiler. So I did like an entire animal trap set where I had audience volunteers come up wearing little dog masks. And I gave them the opportunity to try to hurt me, and I would show them how loyal they were, and they wouldn't hurt me. And then they did, and I got my hands all trapped up.
Oh.
Or like a lot of my ideas. I'll be watching like YouTube, and I will see someone do something, and I'll go, "Can I do that?" And then I'll do it, and I'll go, "I can. Do I want to do that for a show? I do not." So, but it's there for the mind to think of again.
There we are. That is Steve Winchester. You can follow on Instagram at Devon Auditions, all one word.
And what about the Love Doctor? Where does the Love Doctor's inspiration for acts come from?
The Love Doctor is a very simple act. It's just the fact that I believe in common sense. I let people ask the questions and I try to give as best an answer as I possibly can while remaining charming. Because people love it when you smile when you tell them bad news.
It's gonorrhea.
The next question we have is, why is there so much social onus on women to be on birth control? And there you go. That's the same look you get when you're told you have gonorrhea and you have to answer that question, Stephen.
Patriarchy.
The one-word answer?
Yeah, the women are told that they have to be the ones to control themselves because they can't trust men to be the ones to control themselves. Which is why it's a horrible, like, women are, they're, whether if they're on it, they're sluts. If they're not on it, they're prudes. If they are taking it for one reason, they should ask their husband. If they're taking it for a different reason, they should ask their boyfriend. It's like, it's all bullshit. If you want to take drugs to have control over your own body, fuck everybody else.
Well, I mean, that's part of the reason. All right, Bijou.
I think that Steve said pretty much the gist of what I want to say. When we say women, I assume you mean cis women.
Yes, sorry. People with uteruses.
People with, yeah, well, I mean, yes, but it is still usually cis women who have to deal with that, especially if you're heterosexual, because, you know, birth control isn't really a thing if Actually, I'm not going to say that. There are plenty of trans women out there, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that, like, the control that cis het men want to have over the uterus is kind of the progenitor of all of these problems. I'm not going to get too deep because I could go on a rant that I'm going to be talking for the next half an hour, but so much to say is that if a cis woman gets pregnant, someone with a uterus gets pregnant, it is completely on that person. It is their fault. They got pregnant from out of thin air. There was no penis. There was no sperm. What are you talking about? So it becomes their responsibility because they are the only ones who reap the repercussions of something happening that was, unwanted or a mistake or whatever it is. So I think that, as with most things, the uterus havers are expected to be perfect and to take care of everything. Again, people can take what they want, body autonomy. I take birth control, but it has nothing to do with the birth control aspects. It has something to do with the hormonal whatever. And a lot of people, like people with PCOS, for example, they take like certain hormones. It has nothing to do with, it has nothing to do with like birth control per se. Anyway, all this to say, it's the fucking patriarchy.
Boom.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have answered the question any better. I will only add in that I think societal expectations are in general evil. Not in general, sorry. Societal expectations of being kind to each other are great. Societal pressures on women, and a lot of that is the fact that men don't seem to have consequences for ejaculating, and women apparently are the only ones that are ever, fully on the hook when it comes to conceiving a child, is completely wrong and unfair. And men on birth control, if there was a pill that was out there, which I know that they've developed the pill. I've heard about the pill that they developed for men, but they just don't put it in mass production because it's not profitable. There is the old snip for those penis havers to the vasectomy, which is another method, which doesn't reduce testosterone. Last I read, so these are all options, and it's just the onus is never on the man, and it should be on the penis haver, or the testes haver.
Yeah. That being said, though, if I were a uterus haver and I was having a casual hookup, and the dude was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on the pill, and I also got a vasectomy," there's still a good chance that they are lying.
That's what's fucked up. Like, can I just the fact?
Yeah, no. Let's get in that, because this is where I'm saying that there is the societal pressure on women. I mean, put assault aside for a second, because we all can agree that it's fucked up, and but I mean, like, cut and dry, like capital R, whatever. There was this thing where cis men were teaching each other to slip off the condom.
Oh, stealthing.
Yeah, that's still assault. And it's like, if that person were to get pregnant, again, like, the onus is on that person. Or, the two of them, they have a consensual relationship, the condom breaks. It's if the penis haver wanted to leave, not have anything to do with it, go off and live their life, they could do that. In Korea, I used to live in Korea. One step worse than that is that if a person wants to get an abortion, they need to bring the father or the other parent of the fetus to give consent for them to get the abortion. So even one step further than that is that, like, okay, well, I had this consensual relationship, condom broke, I don't want a child, but this person, I don't know, is in the army and they've left, or this person doesn't want to go to the doctor. They don't want to be seen outside of the whatever. Like I had a friend who was like the designated fake father who would, if ever like his friends needed to get like the morning after pill or to get like, and that procedure, he would go and pretend to be the sperm giver. And the fact that they have to do that is fucked up.
Yeah, there's so many fucked up rules. There was a case in Israel. A man actually got sentenced for rape because he had lied to his partner. They had a consensual relationship, basically a weekend-long relationship. Went their own ways on good terms. But he had told her he was Jewish, and she was working at Checkpoint and came across and found out that he wasn't. And like several weeks later, and then accused him of rape. And he went to jail because rape by deception is a law. So that, when it comes to reproduction of sex, there's so many laws and there's so many ways it needs to be thought about, but there's too much pressure put on women to be the one and only responsible for a pregnancy.
Yeah, I feel like the boys will be boys. This idea that like, young men from the time that they're 8 till the time that they're 12, they can't be held responsible for their actions because they're too stupid and reckless. And that also applies from when they're 12 to 21 because they're too young, they're too irresponsible. Oh, but a guy from 21 to 35, well, he can't be held responsible for his actions because he never learned how to be responsible for his actions. So he's not responsible. Oh, and a guy from like 36 all the way up to 99, well, they can't be held responsible for their actions because they're men. It's like, at what point? At what point is it our fault?
There is a Twitter handle, More Like Space, which I love to follow, and they pointed out recently, like growing up, they were told, just you have to be careful because boys will be boys; they can't really control themselves. But no one ever told boys you should look at they don't mature as quickly. But no one told young girls that or young boys that, oh, look to girls and see how they're behaving more maturely, and try to emulate that.
Yeah.
Which
it's like boys never mature because they don't have to, and girls mature faster because they're expected to and they have to.
Yeah, it's self-defense at that point. It's yes, all right. Lots of happy thoughts there, but we are going to move on to the next question. Or is Bijou, you have a final word?
Nope.
All
Service
right.
with a smile.
Service with a smile.
Bad.
Love Doctor, my partner has a very strict no food in bed policy, but the other night I went over to surprise him with surprise sexy time, and he was eating chips in bed. Is this a double standard? And I'm in the hot seat. Yes, this is a double standard. I know personally I don't like food in my bed, but if I'm laying on top of the bed cover, I will occasionally have snacks there. But inside the bed with the sheets, no crumbs in the bed because that's just gross. But that's my personal thing. If they say they don't want you eating in bed, but they're going to eat in bed, then that is a double standard. Steve Winchester.
I'm also in the no food in bed kind of camp. Anything with crumbs, like I don't want ants in my bed. I don't want gritty things in my bed. Like the only thing I can imagine why it would be okay to say I can eat in bed, but you can't. Well, one, it's like it's my bed, and I don't want to mess in bed that's not my fault. Like if I'm eating chips in bed and then I'm suffering the consequences of being covered in chips, that's on me. But if you come over and you eat chips in my bed and then I'm laying in chip crumbs, then I have to get annoyed at you, which I don't want to do because we're laying in my bed, this should be a fun time.
Understood. My place, my rules.
Less my place, my rules, and more I don't want to get mad at you for a thing that I wouldn't get mad at myself for. Like if I'm eating chocolate cake in my bed and I get chocolate cake all over my knees, I'm gonna be like, well, it's my own damn fault for eating chocolate cake. But if I'm with my partner and I'm coming in for a kiss and I put my hand on a big glob of icing, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck is this? Why is there icing in my bed?
I feel like what you're describing is a double standard.
But it's not okay, sure. I don't want to be mad at somebody else for doing a thing that I can forgive myself for.
All right, Bijou.
I feel
we
like
had a comment come in, but I don't know what that is.
Looks like a bot.
It's possibly a bot, but the link doesn't look solid. All right.
Yeah. I guess it's a double standard as far as I'm concerned. I am the kind of person who I will try to follow the rules that I expect my guests to follow or my partners to follow, whether they care about it or not, because of that same exact reason. If it bothers me when somebody else eats chips while I'm sitting next to them and it's like and that bothers me, I'm not going to then go and do that to that person just because it doesn't bother them. I try to do, because again, it is a double standard. So my cat. Hi, sweetie. Hi.
I just won the internet.
Hi.
There we are.
Hi, sweetie. Oh yeah. Oh, okay, here she goes.
They're coming up.
Yeah, she's gonna chill on the back of my. Okay. No one's paying attention to me now. That's all the cat. So yeah, it's a double standard. If you make a rule, then try to follow it yourself. Or like the only time that it's, say, food in bed. I don't like when people eat food in bed, but I ate food in bed once, but I was like literally bedridden. You know, I think that's acceptable. And I asked my partner, I was like, does this bother you if I eat my soup in bed because I cannot stand up? And they were like, yeah, it's fine. Double standard. You ask someone to do something, do it yourself. That's it.
There we go. Now, I did put out a hypothetical there. Eating on top of the covers as on top of the bedspread rather than in bed. Is there a difference?
No.
Yes. For me, it is.
All right. We have a debate above us. Before you two weigh in on this, I do want to remind people that this show is supported by your donations. And so there is a link tree running at the bottom. That's my manager's. No, that's not the link tree. Where is it? Right there is the link tree, so you can donate to the channel at Linktree. So linktr.ee/Paul Ash. That's my manager. The first thing says buy me a drink, so you can click that and pay what you would pay for a drink at a bar, or pay what you pay for a night out. That's even more generous. So those are some of the options you have to donate to the channel. Let's go. Bijou Bisou, you think there is no difference between eating on top of the bedspread rather than eating into the sheets?
That's Steve. Steve has
that.
Steve.
That was Steve's thoughts. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Steve, then. Why do you say there's no difference?
If you are eating in bed, you are in the bed or on the bed, whether there's a sheet on top, it's still like the next person who comes in has to deal with the detritus of your having eaten in bed. Like if I come if I'm going to bed and my partner was just eating some chips in the bedroom, it's fine. And then I get there and there's like potato chip crumbs all over the duvet. And I have to like shake the duvet to get the crumbs out. I don't care if they were eating on top or if they were eating underneath. There's still crumbs on the bed.
Bijou.
Well, for me, it's just an issue of easing cleaning. Like as you said, like if there are crumbs on top of the bedspread, you take out an arm, you swipe it off, and that's it. If there are
Now they're on the floor.
okay, or you okay, but you
Dust
just
bust
said you
them.
shake it out. Listen,
Double standard.
fucking patriarchy. So whatever, you take your arm, you swipe it off, or you vacuum it off, or what the fuck ever. But I think that I don't know if I'm the only one, but if there's like one crumb or like a little bit of sand on the bottom or grit on the bottom of someone's feet when they go to bed, you can't get rid of it. It's like if you live in a beach house, like there it's everywhere, and it's like it's in your pores, it's under your, you sweep it every time. It doesn't matter how many times you try to get that fucking shit out of the bed, it doesn't go. But if it's on the duvet cover, I pick the duvet cover and clean it off. If you get inside the covers, like the likelihood of you getting any chips on your person before you fall asleep is much less likely. So to me, it is different.
I think what we would need to have is we would have like a snack specific bed set, so that someone could like throw down the eating duvet and then lie in bed and eat like a giant tablecloth that they can sit on.
It just looks like a giant like plastic thing with like a lobster on it.
Yeah, and then like just roll it all up at the end and put it back in its special house.
I think my bubby had one of those on her couch.
You know, I think what we've all agreed on is that it's a crime to eat on the sleeping sheets. All right, so we have a point of agreement there. So please don't eat on the sleeping sheets.
Please don't eat on the sleeping sheets.
Musical people, the wonderful guests that we've had tonight, Steve Winchester, Bijou Bisou. They both can be found at the I'm about to put up their link trees. First is Bijou Bisou, so it's bijou.bisou on Instagram. That's the best place to find out about Bijou Bisou and where you can find out about their shows coming up. And Devin auditions on Instagram. And Devin will probably be keeping us more apprised of what they have coming up using that. And again, to donate to the show, to help support anything that comes in the next 24 hours, can be donated to the link tree. So linktr.ee/Paul Ash, and it'll be divided among all three performers that are here right now. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and thanking especially the people that click like, any new subscribers, and those people who like to report the bots that post on the show. Thank you as well. I'm the Love Doctor. I love you all, and I'm saying good night.